And we are back. I'd like to speak a bit regarding the Revelation and what is on the chapter number 20 of Revelation. This is kind of at the very, kind of at the end of it, and states when the world is going to be consumed when the fire comes down from heaven. It's very interesting and very exciting, the protection of our Creator. He is very in tuned, so to speak, with the situation of the world. And there is a very important portion starting, of course, in the 7th verse of the 20th chapter. And then when these 1,000 years would be completed, obviously these 1,000 years, we must be very cautious with it, because it's not truly the 1,000 years, because we understand that this big number has to do in part from the time of Daniel, so must be properly placed in the scripture, because as we know, from the time that the church then is re-established, and from there then another 1,000 years the earth would not survive, because we would for sure run out of resources. Then obviously these 1,000 years must be placed in a proper perspective from the time of Daniel. This is very important, understanding the factors that Daniel was involved with a sect of numbers, or a set of numbers, and those numbers, they were related with certain events. In each of those events then would have a period of time. So these 1,000 years would fit in those times that were given by the angel. So then, going on with it, would be completed, then Nahashtan would be released from his prison, and wilt go forth to seduce the nations that are in the four corners of the earth. Meant those places that would be north and south, east and west from the world, and then Gog and Magog, and to come together for war, whose number is as the sand of the sea. What does it mean? Then later on in the 9th verse, and they went up on the breadth of the earth and gathered around the camps. It's plural, okay? It's plural. Camps and the set apart believers that obviously they are in the camps, and then the beloved city. What this means for us, being smart, we can retract this information and then can reverse it. What does it mean? Means the beloved city. Beloved meant what Yahshua was expecting from the city when he was born, and obviously when he became a man, became a male, and he was expecting the city to be holy as set per Moses. So this understanding gives us the absolutely completely sure part of this verse stating that the city will be beloved as per Yahshua's desire. Okay, so we understand when Yahshua came, the city was not as he wanted. But from this verse, we understand that then the city is beloved, was set as it was to be. It doesn't take much for a person to understand the reversing of it. Because when Yahshua first came, the city was not beloved. It was mixed. And Yahshua died trying to make sure the city was then unmixed. And then previously, and then obviously Nahashtan went around the world and seducing and lying to them. In other words, he was doing as precisely what he was doing during the time of Shaul, when Constantine came around and began to persecute them. It is a shadow picture. Understand the shadows. Okay? So let's move on with it. And of course, they went from every part of the earth trying to go against the camps. What does it mean? Means the previous videos, they were true. There are going to be camps around the world. Think of it, this revelation is what's coming in the future, but it's the positive that's coming in the future. Because it's very evident, the city then would be beloved as Yahshua wanted to be. So the city then was cleaned. The city was there. The city was with a temple. It was rebuilt. It was lovely. Beloved city. Because it was the model of the kingdom to come. So we understand from this point that the city then was repaired. And then the camps were in place. Read it, it's very simple to understand. And then they went around the earth and they were going around the camps of the Hebrews, as set by Moses. The only situation is at the very last moment, then Yahshua showed up to take his people away from the earth before the showering of sulfur, as the shadow pictures of the city of the plains. And then goes on. And then the devil obviously was infuriated because he wanted the power for himself, and he was against the beloved city and the camps. And then afterwards, on the 9th verse, and they went up on the breadth of the earth, and they went around the camps of the set apart believers, the main line of the Hebrews, and then also the beloved city, because it was the model. And then, and fire came down from Elohim out of heaven and consumed them. But this fire from heaven is after Yahshua came and rescued them. Because we are in the 20th chapter, nearly to the end. So what does this mean? If a person reads it, so at the very end, before the showering of sulfur, and then it's stating the beloved city, meant that the city was loved. It was the model city that Yahshua was expecting at first. And then the camps are the camps that was first set from the time of Moses. So if our dear Hebrew brothers, they wanted a sure word that this was true, there it is. It's in the Torah vengeance. It is true, absolutely true, as per instructions of Moses, as the Torah always was stating, never changed. But then it takes trust that this Megillah obviously is true, survived. And then simply read the end. It gives you the absolutely sure part of what's coming is true. And then the model city was cleaned, it was rebuilt, and it was set as per plan. Because the very record states very, very, very plainly. And then the beloved city also was encircled with the evil people, trying to destroy them. And the camps. Plural, many camps around the world. This is prophecy. prophecy in the Torah vengeance. The very portion of the second half of the prophets, second half of the Torah, and this is it. It's given you the absolute certainty of the beloved city that was repaired and beloved, as per Yahshua's desire at first. And then previously it states camps. It's plural. What was the objective when Yahshua came? Was making sure people, they would go out in groups, complete groups, and set up holy lands around the world. And this is what's stating in Revelation, the 20th chapter. Reverse it. Read the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Read those verses and then reverse it. It is very important because it gives our dear Hebrew brothers the certainty of what they believed, what they heard from Moses was absolutely true. And it is, because it is recorded. So then what people should be doing? As we spoke before, those Hebrew brothers that are wealthy, they should be engaged in starting out making the camps. We talk some more